Most creators think they have an idea problem. They don't. They have just thinking problem. The content feels repetitive, but not because they have nothing to say, but because they are posting before they actually thought, because it's surface level. This is why. From this point in the series, we are in the phase 3, thinking. Up to now, we've talked about clarity, packaging, speed, and execution. But none of that matters if your thinking is weak. Good content is a byproduct of clear thinking. If the thinking is shallow, the content will be shallow too. This is what I see all the time. People sit down to post, open a blank page, and try to come up with something insightful. That's the mistake. Insight is not created when you sit down and decide to write. It's created before that. If you're thinking and writing at the same time, you default to safe and obvious ideas. That's why you keep seeing the same advice. Be consistent, stay authentic, provide value. That's not insight, that's recycled language. Watch this.
To be successful, and this is a very nice question you asked, because I'm going to give you this formula that I have right now, which is to be really successful in whatever you want to do, whether you want to quit your job, scale your business, whatever it is, there are 3 things. One is knowing the strategy of how to do it, which is a strategic logics part. 2 is the skills you have. So what skills do you have today? And 3 is your self-image. So the books I gave you is for self-image.
Good content doesn't come from trying to sound smart. It comes from how you process what you see. There's a simple system behind it. Input, reflection, execution. That's where the insight comes from. Not brainstorming, not prompts, not forcing ideas. A better thinking process. Creators are exposed to raw material every day. Conversations, client problems, questions people keep asking, content they disagree with, patterns that they keep noticing, things that fell off. But most people ignore it. They don't treat it like content. They think content starts when they sit down. It doesn't. It starts when something catches your attention. Watch this.
I think firstly, people need to get the entire idea of going viral out of their mind, because going viral isn't really going to get you anything. Because if you go viral for like a one-off post and that's not even your community, it's just useless having those people there, because they're not going to be interested into the following posts. And if going viral isn't even getting you revenue for your business, then what's the point of going viral? So I would say get that idea out of your head, and once you have, always write your posts like you're talking to a friend.
This is the step that most people skip. They go from seeing something straight to creating. But reflection is where depth is created. This is where we pause and ask, why does this stand out? Why does this keep happening? What's actually going on here? What are people misunderstanding? You see a post saying, post consistently. And most people agree with that. Operators ask a better question. Why aren't people posting in the first place? That's where the real insight starts. Watch this.
As women, when we're brought up in childhood, typically girls are praised more for being polite and being nurturing, whereas boys are praised more for being assertive. And even competitive. So even from a young age, we are socialized that women are polite over everything else and more submissive. And as we get older and as we get into adulthood, that conditioning runs even deeper. So typically, if we look at women politicians, they're politicians that tend to be more criticized for speaking out versus their male peers. Another example would be studies have shown that women consistently underestimate their abilities compared to male peers of the same competence. So it's not a competence gap, it's a confidence gap.
Now you turn it into a clear point of view. What's the pattern? What do people keep getting wrong? What do I actually believe about this? This is where the insight is created. Not by adding more information, by interpreting it better. That's the difference between the content that fills the feed and content that actually resonates with people. Listen to this.
If you want to describe that term, you go in your favorite cafe bar first time and you order the coffee and nobody knows your name, nobody knows what you drink as usual. Next time when you show up, they already know what type of coffee you drink, they already know your name, right? So if you miss 14, 15 days in that cafe bar, they're gonna tell, hey man, where are you? What happened? Is everything okay? You know, because they care about you. They used to see you in their bar. And finally, you're gonna come with your friends, right? Share the story on the Instagram, how you're drinking the coffee in that bar. And from the perspective of the bar, that's the customer loyalty, and it's applicable the same in the business. And that's how I try to, I'm not gonna say full story, but I'm gonna try to find that one piece of the context and compare that with the current topic that I'm writing. And I think that's the way how I'm trying to stand out.
Let me show you what this looks like. Input. Creators say they struggle with consistency. Reflection. When I look closer, it actually doesn't look like a consistency problem. It looks like hesitation. People are not struggling to post because they don't care. They are struggling to post because they are overthinking starting. Extraction. Consistency isn't the real problem. Starting is. The same topic, different thinking. That's what creates better content. So if you feel like that you are running out of ideas, that usually isn't the problem. The real problem is that probably you don't have a process. You don't need more ideas. You need better thinking. Listen to this.
When I was like 14, I was in school and I had like a little band that I got together and I wanted to go out and do some gigs, but we had like no music recorded. We had no press kit, nothing. So I was like knocking doors of music venues saying like, can you book my band? And the answer was no, there was nothing. You know, we were just kids. So I took matters into my own hand and just hired a venue. Cost me £100 to hire this venue. And I went out and printed posters, printed tickets, and sold them around my school. And over the next couple of weeks, I sold all of the tickets, sold the show out, and performed my first ever gig to a sold out audience and made like £500 off the back of it.
This is how operators think. They don't wait for new ideas. They notice, they reflect, they extract. If you want better content, stop asking what to post. Start asking what you're noticing. If your content feels repetitive, this is why. You're not thinking before you post. In the next video, I'll show you exactly what to pay attention to. Because once you understand the process, the next question is, what signals should you actually be looking for? See you in the next one.